Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Odogwu.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to another episode of Shine Out Loud Show. Now, this is the first episode of 2018, and we're opening up with a bang. We have an incredible young man with us tonight. Yeah, we're starting with the men this year, and we are going to be looking at cryptocurrency, building wealth, and I couldn't find any other person better to discuss this than Anthony Odogwu, who is an award-winning entrepreneur, founder, and creator. And he's the owner and founder of Polymath and Digital Vanguard. He is also the founder of Future Space Technologies, which is a Millennial Mobile Agency that specializes in the design development of mobile apps for the Millennial Generation. But he's also, this man is so busy, I'm not sure where he finds time to sleep. Anthony, you're also the co-founder of the Hampshire Global Group, which is an investment company. So join me and welcome my incredibly busy but incredibly awesome guest, Anthony Odogwu. Hey,
Good
Anthony.
Evening. How are you? How are you, Lillian?
I'm fine, thank you. So,
wow, I was thinking, who is that you're describing? But thank you very much. Thank you.
You are so welcome. It will be your fine self. Anthony, you are an incredibly busy young man who is very multifaceted in your focus and direction. But then again, you're a millennial, so we expect nothing less from you.
Yes, indeed.
So let me ask you this. As somebody who graduated, and people, please don't groan when you hear what I'm about to say. You graduated at the birth time of Facebook. And for anybody who's actually trying to count on fingers when that was, it was 10 years ago.
Yes, indeed. Yes. It was an interesting time, but I believe it was the birth of the digital revolution that you and I and many are currently living in terms of how we communicate, how we interact and do everything in our lives. So it was a great time and just in time, I say, just in time.
So, and that whole revolution, or that start of that revolution, what we know now as our Facebook and digital era, it led you, once you came out of university, straight into deciding that you were going to become an entrepreneur. You were fueled by the idea that if Mr. Zuckerberg could do it, I guess you could do it too. Yes,
indeed. It was a great inspiration. So, I grew up, I'm sure, with many that, you knew about these big companies, your Coca-Colas, your Mercedes or whoever, and you never actually saw the CEOs or the founders or the creators behind these companies. And here was Facebook that came on the scene. And immediately after that, I watched the Social Network film. Can you remember?
Yes, I remember that.
And I was like, wow, so this is a kid that was his second or third year at university and came up with this idea with his friends. And, it's now a 100 million plus company. And he was like 22 or 23 at the time. I was like, wow, this is a viable career path. And at that time, the term that was being more accepted was the term entrepreneur.
Yes.
Which is now, a celebrated career vocation. But at that time, they hadn't quite themed it. And anybody that had made quite a bit of wealth or had gone into the millionaire status, they'll kind of looked at as, like a magician kind of thing. It's not quite real, but, with the birth of Facebook and everything else that followed after, it's now a viable career path. And it was something that I said, yeah, this definitely fits me.
Okay. And you just mentioned something. You just said something about, anybody who got to millionaire status was seen as, a magician. It wasn't real. And that's actually quite, important, because we are going to start talking about something tonight that most people can't believe is real. Most people don't know how to begin. It's like basically magic. And we are talking about cryptocurrency.
Yes, indeed. So as many of you should know or should be aware, cryptocurrency is what we are deeming the new form of exchange using monetary terms. So it's a digital currency, which is based on the blockchain technology. And you have a few new currencies that are being out there that have been out since about 2009-10, such as Bitcoin, Ripple, Litecoin, just to make a few, and there's a few hundred others that are coming up as well. So, cryptocurrency is where a lot of the new wealthy demographic will be birthed from. And it's something that you and I and many others can actually get in at a very reasonable rate at this stage.
Well, you know what, you say that, but already, I mean, we're jumping ahead of quite a few questions. The fact is, whenever anybody hears about cryptocurrency, we hear about Bitcoin being at the thousands for a Bitcoin. How can people who, don't know anything about it, they're like, wait, I don't have thousands to throw away into something I don't understand. How can people still invest in Bitcoins if Bitcoin is the direction they're supposed to go into?
Indeed. So cryptocurrency, just to give you an idea, is what you call a decentralized monetary system that is based on blockchain technology, that you can acquire coins, and those coins can now be mined, put into a wallet, and then you can sell the assets and receive the monetary returns.
Okay. So Tony, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but everything you've just said to somebody else, and not to me, of course, somebody else is like, what did you just say? I should mine what am I minding, and what wallet is this going into, and what is this blockchain you keep talking about? People don't know. So when people hear it, we most lay people get kind of confused. We're like, okay, I'm supposed to mine something. What mine am I going to? How do I mine this? Who am I mining from? Is this a scam? Is it, who's mining in my computer? So let's break it down. And so you understand it, I understand it, and our ancestors and elders understand it, because we need to start talking about this seriously so that we understand what is cryptocurrency. So let's start with the very basics. What are blockchains and what is mining? Okay,
so blockchain is a technology. So that allows the operation of leading into the mine to happen.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm just going to go very slowly.
You're going to have to.
Yes. So when you hear blockchain, Bitcoin, mining, these are all terms that are related, but they're actually steps. So without blockchain technology, you're not going to be able to actually do any mining. You're not going to be able to purchase a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin, such as Litecoin, or such as Ripple, and there's many others. I'm just naming the top four for you. So, should I continue?
Yes, I was going to ask very quickly. Okay. You've mentioned mining. So, where does this mining take place? And I know it sounds like I'm asking a very basic question. I know most of our tech guys who are listening are going, "Oh, for heaven's sakes, really?" But there are some of us that don't know. Where does this mining take place?
So the mining takes place once you have acquired a specific cryptocurrency, on the blockchain technology platform. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where the mining takes place. What does the mining mean? It means that you've either acquired a certain amount of cryptocurrency coins, and you're now ready to divide them up.
Right.
A term that is called divided in cryptocurrency terms called mining. Okay. And then you can now take it to the transaction, either sell or hold on to it, depending on what you like to do.
Okay, so that's the basic. So the question is, can anybody do it?
Oh, yeah, indeed. There's a lot of very good resources out there online. And a lot of gurus also are sharing their how-tos. Mm-hmm. So I believe anybody that puts their mind to something and focuses, they can do it. I may hear some questions coming out as, a Bitcoin now is currently at 16K.
Yes.
Which is true. But at the same time, there's a lot of up and coming other cryptocurrencies that are at a rate that the average person can actually make a small investment, acquire
Okay.
some coins, and hold on and make a return as well.
All right, so I'm gonna move the question around first and foremost. I'm gonna park the cryptocurrency questions just
Okay.
so that we can move this around just a bit because my curiosity is, for someone like yourself, you're an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. Now,
Mm,
in your opinion, what does personal wealth look like for you, and why should we, as a community, be talking about wealth?
fantastic. So personal wealth for me is accumulation of a few things. Number one, your mindset. What does that mean? What is your outlook on life?
Right,
How do you see challenges? How do you see success? Secondly, your spiritual. Is it in line with your mindset?
right.
I'm not going to go into the domination, but is your spirit being, positive? Is it open to receiving things that will benefit you? And then thirdly, I'll look at your health.
Mm-hmm.
Physical. Are you getting out there? Eating the right things. What you put in is what comes out.
Of course.
So that's important. And then wealth as a collective of those things, including financial empowerment, is what makes somebody truly wealthy.
Okay. So that sounds like a very good thing for us to start looking at. You've mentioned that it's accumulation of different things. So it's not just the money in the bank, it's your
Oh, no.
health, it's
Yes.
your mindset, is what's your spirituality. And if people who are like, well, I'm not spiritual, I'm religious, we're not talking about
Yes.
that. It's
No, no, no.
whether are you going to use that money for a greater good, or are you going
Yes.
to use it in a way that it harms somebody else?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So that's how I define what true wealth is.
Okay.
Yes.
So my next question to that, or the adjunct to that, is that why are we afraid to discuss money and wealth building in our community?
Fantastic question. I think it's always been seen as a taboo subject. Many of us aren't really what I call financial literate.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us in our community are exposed to career paths such as an accountant or finishing in a degree as a finance person, but
Yeah.
not actually knowing how money can actually work for you rather than you working for the money. So I don't think it's so much it being a fear. I just think it's just the approach or know-how
Right.
of how do I actually make an investment work for me. How do I actually pass down wealth, make it generational? How do I look at stuff that will definitely bring me short-term returns and long-term returns? Where do I go? What do I do? So I think it's more so the literacy and know-how that is a big issue within our community.
And which is actually a great segue because one of the other things that you do, you actually run workshops and webinars teaching people on how to create wealth and how to hold on to wealth in different areas.
Indeed. So the majority of last year coming into this year, we've been holding roundtable discussions and workshops on how to combat the current recession that we're in
Mm-hmm.
and how to gear up to the next stage that we're also going in. One of the key things that we've been discussing and showing during our workshops is how to save some of your income in gold, which
Right.
is a commodity that many of us are exposed to, but don't actually know that it is a keeper of wealth. So we've been educating many on this subject.
Okay, and that's actually quite commendable. So when's the next workshop on gold or webinar coming up?
Fantastic. So we're going to be launching 2018 series shortly. We are refining our materials and what we want to do. So we're always making sure that what we share is always up to date.
Awesome.
But our website, Hampshire Global Group.co.uk, has information on there. And you can also follow us on social media to see when our next 2018 workshop kicks off.
Okay. So, with the work that you've done, especially from 2017 and just generally work that you're doing, do you think that we as a community, and I'm using the royal we and saying yes,
Yes.
we
Yes, of
as a
course.
community have the ability to shift our state of mind from consumers to actually accumulators and investors? Because the one thing, and if you check the statistics out there, we are big spenders.
Indeed.
So, do we have that ability, and can it be done within the next 5 years?
Most definitely. I think it states that it takes 90 days to break a bad habit.
All right.
So I believe that we do have the capacity and more to change our mindsets. Of course, we must enjoy the good things of life and we must reward our hard work. But it's also important to remember that we will all reach an age where we're no longer going to be able to work as hard, and we will all reach an age where we have children and grandchildren behind us.
Yes.
And they'll be looking up to us, not only for the moral correction, but also financially. And how can we actually invest? What can we do? And what I found that during my research is that a lot of other communities are very savvy to that principle, which keeps them ahead, which keeps them in certain positions of power, and which keeps their communities growing. So I think for our community is about learning those principles, applying those principles, and starting as little as we can. You don't need to acquire X amount of hundreds of thousands or just a very small amount. You'll be able to now start to practice investments and following your investment and seeing a positive return on it.
Okay, so we're talking that we need to accumulate, we need to invest, and we need to acquire. Now, when we think about when we start talking about cryptocurrency, how does it differ from stocks and shares in terms of investment?
Yes, so cryptocurrency is a decentralized monetary system. What does that mean? It is not regulated. What does regulated mean? It means that it's not followed by an institution. It's not followed by a regulatory body. So the other question to that is it safe?
Exactly. That was the next follow-up question.
If those that like to go by the book, they'll probably be saying, "Hey, it's not safe." Then no, it is. That means new rules are being created. A lot of our banks, as we know them, have adapted themselves to start receiving and to make transactions with cryptocurrencies. But it's just at the early stage of its revolution. So
Right.
you're going to see it jump up. You're going to see it maybe come down slightly, and you're going to see it, standardize. So what we're actually witnessing at the moment is a digital currency revolution. Just like you had the internet, just like you had other things, in humanity. This is just our time, with monetary. So it's important that we get involved very, very quickly.
Okay, so I actually agree with you. And looking at it, and from my knowledge, I actually look at it in the same way that gold, we went from gold standard to actually the dollar as the global trading standard. And there was a big shift, because at one time, gold was the trading standard globally and everything was backed against gold. And then we moved to paper, which became, the next major, which became the regulated currency. I think we're just doing that with cryptocurrency. And so the question to follow that simply is, can cryptocurrency take over from actual currency? Could we end up in a scenario where we have no currency?
Not to sound like a conspiracist, but I believe that we are going to see a 60, 70%, 80% move into cryptocurrency. As you just stated, that the current fiat currency, which is the paper currency, is not backed any longer by the gold standard.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That the value of our fiat currency is plummeting. So, your purchasing power of what you would have had 20 years ago and now and moving forward is not as strong. So cryptocurrency is something that is definitely going to be the way that we will start exchanging a lot more with goods and services, as well as making an investment. So a world without digital currency, in fact, there's a few European countries who have already used it as their first form of currency exchange, surprisingly.
Wow.
So that question is actually a yes in certain parts of Europe. They are looking at Africa as being a big pocket for cryptocurrency. And then those of us that are in this part of the West, they'll probably be, I'm sure, the last to join the bus. So I see it happening, not immediately, but I see it happening a lot around the world as a form of pure monetary exchange.
Okay. So, you mentioned about safety and you mentioned about regulation, and we understand that if there's some impact politically, our stocks and shares can go up and down. If something happens in one stock market, it has a global impact, like the crash of 2008. Now, when we turn on TV, turn on our radio, turn on whatever, and we look at the news and they're talking about Bitcoin, I remember just before December, they were like, the running joke was, my son wanted cryptocurrency, wanted Bitcoin. I go, are you crazy? It's 16,000, 15,000, 11,000, 12,000, 9,000, 16,000 in one day. So the question behind that is, if it's not regulated, how do we have the big spikes, and how does one avoid literally losing their shirts?
Indeed.
Playing cryptocurrency.
Yes, indeed. So the key thing with everything that you invest in, it's imperative that you do your research. And with usually the rule for investment is to watch the market, is to watch the demand, is to watch how much individuals or companies are buying into it, and be savvy about what's going on. So when it is going up, you know whether to sell or keep it. When it is plummeting, you know whether to buy more. Because eventually with investments, they usually tend to go up once, there's a standard and you make a return. Okay. So I say it's imperative that you watch. You're constantly adding to your knowledge base with regards to cryptocurrency, understanding why it comes down, understanding why it goes up, and understanding where it might just be moving at a steady pace. So it's about your knowledge. Again, going back to your previous questions about your knowledge, whether to stay in for the long haul, or are you looking to stay in just for a very short period and make a quick buck and exit, or are you looking to learn lessons if you happen to make a loss, and know what to do the next time that you come in. Okay. So it's definitely about knowledge and knowing how to view your stocks, your investment mainly.
Okay, so we've been talking about it, and we're talking about cryptocurrency, and you just mentioned the big four, which is Bitcoins, Ripple, Litecoin. I think there's one more, Ethereum as well.
That's right, Ethereum. That's correct.
And when people talk about them, we hear words like ICO. We hear words like you need an exchange to buy. You need to do this and that. You need to do other things. So my question is, what is let's say the ABCs of purchasing? How does one purchase a currency? What's the first step? Okay,
so I am not going to endorse any platforms here, but just for understanding purposes, you mentioned ICO, which is called an initial coin offering. Right. What does that mean? That means that a coin is about to be launched. It's not going to the initial platforms yet, and you can get in early. And by getting in early, you can acquire a lot of coins at a certain competitive rate. And before it is launched, where the demand and hysteria will be, you'll make an immediate gain, because once it's launched, first off, it's natural for the price to go up and for your investment to be positive. The key steps are to look at your initial investment, what you're looking to invest, what coin you're looking to buy, and how many coins it gets you. Okay. Because we're talking about acquiring currency here. Okay. Once you do that, you are now watching the market and seeing how it performs. Okay. Are there a lot of demand for it? Isn't there? Are people buying a lot of coins? Are they buying a lot of coins and that sort of thing? Once you've done that, you are now looking at, do I buy or sell? Do I buy more or do I sell the coin? What do I look? What exactly do you want to do as an individual? And then from there, you now set goals and say, no, I'm going to keep this for a year or 2 or even 5 years, and keep an eye on and then make an exit. So it's quite simple. It's quite straightforward.
Okay, so it sounds straightforward enough, but then you're having to understand there are questions around what are exchanges, and then they're followed by, oh, you need a hot wallet, a cold wallet. I'm like, a hot wallet, cold wallet? What are we talking about here?
Yes. So you have different types of wallets, which is specific to the time periods in which you want to hold your coins.
Okay.
I'll just put it in that simple terms. So hot wallet is something that I definitely want to hold a lot of my coins for a short period of time,
Okay.
and either exit or do something else with it. A cold wallet is something where you hold your coins for a longer period of time. And you're actually watching the market and then seeing, what the returns will be. So that's how I can put it in simplistic terms.
Okay. And from one of the things that I personally know about the hot and cold wallet, hot wallets are normally connected online. They're connected to a website or a particular site that you've purchased your currency from. Whereas a cold wallet sometimes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is something that you actually hold that is offline, and you connect it to your computer, you download your currencies onto this, and you take it away from your computer, so it's offline, and it's considered to be a more secure option of holding your currency. Is that right?
Yes. It is something that you have to have a computer to use. So it's your main, what I call the nucleus.
Okay.
And you can plug in and out. So definitely, yes.
Okay, and so that's understandable, and I understand you not wanting to endorse any particular platform or any. I can understand that. Now, looking at cryptocurrency and looking at the growth. Now, most people can say, well, Bitcoins, I'm not touching it because I don't have 16,000 to invest. But
Of course.
in your estimation, what other of the big 4 currencies should people currently be looking at? Now, I personally, my favorite seems to be Ripple at the moment because it's still in the £2 range. And I'm hoping it's still there because Mama wants to get some.
Good.
But and there's Ethereum, there's Livecoin, there's Revo coins, there's Litecoins, there's First coins. And there are people who are now running almost multi-level style marketing companies around cryptocurrencies. So, with anything that is so intense the way it is, and I remember when the first .com bubble came up, the question is cryptocurrency the next .com bubble?
I wouldn't say so. If I'm honest with you, the .com bubble is now what we now know as fully the internet. So it had its fears, it had its aspirations, and now it's more or less standardized. With cryptocurrency, I think it's taken about 8 to 9 years to kind of mature.
Right.
The Bitcoin is taking about that time to mature, and with anything new, it takes about that time, between 5 to 8 years. That's brand new on the market. It takes about 5 to 8 years before it's standardized and it knows where it's going. So I don't think it is. I just think that this period that we're in is definitely a time to get in.
Okay.
Definitely a time to get in before they put standards in place, before the entry levels are a lot harder,
right,
and a lot higher to get in. So I think it's something that you can make very positive returns, be owners, and see our returns come back positively.
Okay, so I'm very interested in that because, and just circling back to the wallets, I've just had a question come in. And the question that's come in is, what makes wallets different from just holding them on my computer? Because that's a good question. Because for people who don't know, you have to actually physically go out and buy these wallets for a few £100 in some cases. So why can't I just store it on my computer?
I think coins that are stored on the computer. There's two things with that. So remember, I spoke about mining coins.
Yes.
So mining coins means you bought a lot of coins at once, and you're now dividing them and storing them.
Right.
The question is, why is it better to hold on my computer, or why is it better to
No, the
buy a
question
wallet?
is, yes. So the question is, can't I hold? What's the difference between holding it on my computer in just a file in a folder? Why do I have to get a special wallet for this?
There's two things. One is storage,
Okay.
and two is the offline online factor. As you know, the internet's 24/7, so
Of course.
yeah. But also we have the option to either be offline and online. So my simplified answer to that question would be that you have the offline and online method.
Mm-hmm.
Offline will definitely be on your computer. Online will be with the wallets, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. So that's so basically with the hot wallets, which are connected to a website or a particular website where you're holding it for you, and that's open to attack, because if that website is attacked, whenever we hear of attacks, they're on a website that has been attacked and hacked, and people's money have been lost. But if you hold it in a cold wallet, which is like a device, so I'm just going to call a name, the Nano Ledger, for instance.
Okay. Yes.
You're holding it offline, and you're holding it, it's almost like a USB device, which you're then holding it. So then the question is, what if I just bought a regular USB storage, as in external hard drive? Can I store it there? Do I need to buy this tool, this ledger, this treasure, this, whatever device it may be? Do I have to buy a special device, or could I use my external storage device instead of that?
Your external storage is fine. You don't have to buy a special device. With cold storages, which is kept offline, your USB, as long as it's protected and you know where it is and it's kept safe, your USB stick is fine.
Okay. All right, so that's fine. So we have that answered, and we don't expect you to have all the answers, and you have experts that come down to your webinars and workshops when you deliver some of the things. So it's if people want more answers from you, they can always reach out to you and get some more.
They can get in touch. Yeah. They can, yes.
So. Okay, so we're still going into cryptocurrency, and with all of them that are available. And we've just mentioned Ripple, which I mentioned that it's still at a very reasonable price. What are, in your mind, the immediate pitfalls to cryptocurrencies?
The immediate pitfalls, I think, just the volatility of it. You have high spikes, and then you have some nail-biting drops as well. So I think those are the two pitfalls. If you don't quite understand the market or how it works, it can scare you off immediately. And then probably number two, the fact that it's decentralized. Great, there's no control.
Right.
But at the same time, what direction is it going into?
Right.
So I think those are the two big question marks that the average person may have for cryptocurrency.
Okay, I actually think this is actually the next big thing, and I think people should, like you said, do their research, get educated, and get involved. And we shouldn't wait on the sidelines to what happens to Bitcoin, and then we are unable to participate.
That's right. I think it's something that, as a community, we need to be at the forefront of any new digital revolution once it's ethical and it makes sense. We can't afford to be spectators anymore. Mm-hmm. I was just reading the other day that Kodak cameras, can you remember them? The photography people?
Yes.
They actually have a Kodak coin, which is doing very successful.
Are you serious?
Indeed.
Oh, wow.
Indeed. So if you Google it as we speak, you'll see Kodak coin has done its ICO, and it's ready, and it's doing great things. So big organizations, big companies are putting their money behind cryptocurrency and are making great returns.
I've actually just seen it.
Oh, fantastic. So this Yes, yes. So it's exciting times. I find it exciting that a very old um, conventional photography company has seen an opportunity to create their own coin and join the cryptocurrency revolution and actually make positive returns from it. So I think, as individuals, as a community, as a collective, we need to be investing, we need to be purchasing, and we need to be growing our investments for the future.
I'm actually with you on that. And speaking of, outside the box individuals who are actually tapping into cryptocurrency. I actually heard the other day that the WuTang were actually trying to create an ICO to have their own coin.
Wow. Yeah. And that's talking about a whole um, new demographic, which is a very volatile, which is very entrepreneurial, which is the hip hop, um,
Exactly.
which is massive. It's not only in the States, it's global.
It's going
And
to be the hip hop coin.
that's right. It's global, and and they could probably dominate as well because they have the biggest demographic of millennial listeners.
Of course.
So and at the head front of influencing as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
the fact that WuTang is definitely going to launch an ICO on their own cryptocurrency doesn't surprise me. So
Yeah.
kudos to them.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that coming out and finding out more about it. Now,
Yeah.
and Anthony, one of the things we've been talking about is about the revolutionary nature of cryptocurrency. And you mentioned how certain countries in Europe are already starting to put cryptocurrency forward as their main currency.
Yes. Yes.
And I think, in your estimation, looking at the fact that sub-Saharan Africa is one of your key areas that you guys invest in and for your
Yes.
investors,
Yes.
do you think that cryptocurrency could actually change the face of Africa in terms of investment and entrepreneurship?
Indeed. I definitely do. If you remember that in Zimbabwe, they had like a $1 million note. Did you see that? Some
Yes.
years ago. Yeah. And that couldn't buy anything. What did
Yeah.
that tell you? That told you that inflation, it wasn't backed by the gold reserve and it
Right.
had no value. Whereas with cryptocurrency, the digital transaction of that will be, second to none. And they actually have the highest penetration in mobile usage as well,
Right.
which is one of the key advocates for why, cryptocurrency has done as well as it can and why it's going to do even better. So I believe that is going to be a key in revolutionize in positioning Africa, to surge into its bright future. So, getting in now, whilst that part of the world would join, it will be a very, very lucrative return for us.
Awesome. Now, to all of you who are just joining us, I don't know where you've been because you've missed Anthony Odogwu, who is a serial entrepreneur. This young man has the simple mindset that entrepreneurship is not just about the wealth in your pocket and just building business, but it's also about a mindset that you carry with you, and it's also about building legacy wealth. And we have been discussing cryptocurrency and how to get into it, how to start, and how to even understand what it is, from the simple understanding of blockchains to the type of currencies available. Now, Anthony, this is our first one. So what is,
Yes.
we do this every time on the show. We talk about our So Loud moment of the week.
Yes.
So this is the first one for 2018. What is
Yes.
your So Loud moment?
Being an advocate for digital social media and technology, I would definitely have to say the big community outlook on the recent H&M ad. and why I say that's a so loud moment, just the simple misrepresentation that was an advocate for a community that got behind and said, hey, this doesn't quite represent us. This
Right.
isn't us. And it was done, positively through social media. And in fact, a major ambassador of theirs have actually pulled out one of their partnerships as well.
Oh, yes, I actually saw that.
Did you see it? Yes.
Yes.
So it's not quite crypto related,
Mm.
but it's definitely, for me, a so loud. It's so loud moment.
And I think, Anthony, that right there deserves this. Okay, Anthony, we have been getting questions coming in,
Okay.
and one of the questions that we've just had come in over WhatsApp, they want to know, how do these currencies become more valuable? The fact that you have one that is so high and some that are still very low. What makes one more valuable than the other?
I think the purchase of how many coins, so how many individuals own coins, and also the mining of coins. So how many of them are dividing it? And what is the current exchange of those coins? Are they buying and selling those coins a lot? And the overall behavior of a specific coin. I
Okay.
think that's what makes it higher, makes it more valuable than others.
Okay. And here's another question that has just come in, and I hope I hope that answers the question for you. And another question that has just come in is asking, what currency would you advise someone to get into next? Or, for someone who hasn't started, what currency would you advise them to take a look at?
Definitely, I would say, you know, take a look at Ripple, take a look at Litecoin, and then take a look at Ethereum. I think they're all at an affordable rate to get in at the moment. They have been very steady in the cryptocurrency graph market. And also look at the ones that are outside of the top 25 as well. They'll be coming up as well.
Okay.
So that would be my advice.
Okay, so you just mentioned that there are other ones outside the top 10. Have you ever
Yes,
heard of Revo Coin?
I have. Yes.
And it's supposed to be it's the first coin that's actually backed by a foundation or an organization.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the coins are backed by different things.
Okay.
So yes, I've heard that. I've also heard of another coin that's backed by a particular entrepreneur's property portfolio. They've had like 100 mil property portfolio, and they've launched a coin, and they've used that as their surety, and have also boasted that they're one of few coins that are actually backed by real assets.
Right.
Revo joining, Kodak joining, and the others we've mentioned isn't a new thing within the cryptocurrency space.
Okay. And so Revo is something that you would advise. It's outside of the top 10 popular ones that,
Yes,
it's backed. So you should advise people to at least go and do their research.
definitely,
And
definitely. I would definitely advise do your research, and even better if it's backed by an asset that is tangible or a company that's had a long, successful history. Those two things are like no-brainers in terms of purchasing and making an investment.
okay. Now, Tony, I'm just going to say, I know you're an incredibly busy young man, and I want to thank you for being on the show. Now, one of the questions that I had personally around cryptocurrencies is looking at it and looking at how it's actually just coming and it's dominating the landscape. Do you think that cryptocurrency can actually sustain itself?
I do. I really do. I think that you're going to have big booms, which we're seeing. But I definitely, from my knowledge and those experts around me, it will have its standard stage, which means that it will leverage itself out and now become a feasible form of exchange for goods and services. So I do see it being something that would be around for some time. As I've seen confidence from other countries actually using it as an official form of exchange, so that they must be a reason why they've opted for that option. So yeah, I do.
Okay. Thank you so much. I could talk about this for a good few hours and I won't get tired of it. And one of the points that was brought up around mining is that, mining is now in itself, outside of people purchasing cryptocurrencies, mining itself is turning into another brand new business avenue, because what is not known is that you can't mine the currency on like your own computer, because
No.
it will drain your computer and your electricity.
Yes.
And it's turning into another business avenue. And so the question behind it is, do you, knowing that it's, the electricity is needed and all sorts, do you see this as a way to introduce new businesses into Africa, especially?
Oh,
Yeah.
most definitely. So if you don't know, there's something called data centers and warehouses that are located all over the world. And a lot of our transactions and stuff is done over there. So I definitely see it as a new economy within itself. New opportunities will be birthed, new businesses will be birthed, and a new way for people to make sustainable incomes. So yes, I do see it as a great opportunity to set up, mining centers or stuff where. Yes, most definitely. So it's something that if you are on the ground over there already, start looking at places where you can set one or two up.
Okay. And I'm sure that that's something that, before long you would be firmly have your fingers into.
Indeed. Yes. Indeed. Yes.
So, Tony, like we said, we're at the start of the brand new year. We're 10 days in. What is next for you? What are your future projects?
So we are kicking off an official cryptocurrency workshop / seminar this year. We are growing our business, Future Space Technologies, which is a mobile millennial business.
Right.
So we are, still developing great groundbreaking mobile application apps. And then looking forward to what new opportunities present themselves and the ones I come across as well. Definitely acquiring more cryptocurrency, sharing, educating people on this area, and looking to make more impact with what I've been doing and those around me as well.
Awesome. So how can people find you?
So I'm on all the major social media platforms. Just type in Anthony Odogwu. I would come up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You could also visit hampshireglobalgroup.co.uk for all investment advice and everything digital and technology around futurespacetechnologies.com. There'll be either myself or a member of staff that can get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And one more question. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
So, looking at the fact that as a business owner, a serial entrepreneur, how do you bounce back from failure?
Very good question. I don't see it as failure. I see it as a very good acronym that I've had in my head for a very long time. It's called First Attempt in Learning.
Okay.
I don't see it as, I see it as just a lesson. In fact, there was a viral video that went around with Will Smith that was saying that, the real successful people fail all the time. But what they don't do is dwell on it. Mm-hmm. And what they do is fail and fail quickly.
Right.
Which means they learn lessons. So bouncing back from failure, just learning, what did I do wrong? Where did I get it not so right that time? And how can I adjust and change my approach the second time and get the desired results that I want? So I see it as more as a lesson, more as a learning exercise for me. So that's how I believe everyone should approach it.
I like that idea, and I do like the acronym behind it. And I know I said one more question, but I lied.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Columbo. I have to be that person that will come back one more question.
Yes.
We're
good.
doing we're doing the Columbo moves here.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yes.
So,
Fantastic. Fantastic.
when you talk about failure, when you talk about your businesses, what advice would you give anyone coming up, younger or even older, who are saying, I want to start a business, I want to start businesses like yours. What do I need to know? What advice would you give them?
I think the first thing is, especially for the young people, what is it that I'm good at and I naturally excel at doing? And how can I make that skill, how can I make that talent bring in a revenue? I think that is the key thing, because why I say that is that in business, you have your, great moments and you have your challenging moments.
Right.
But that passion, that thing that comes naturally to you will keep you going through those challenging moments to get to that desired destination. So I'll definitely say, what are you naturally good at? And how can I make a positive return on that talent or skill? Secondly, I'll definitely get some sound mentorship around you.
Okay.
It's important that you have a good sounding board and support network around you. What does that mean? A lot of the mistakes have already been done, and you don't want to go either down that route or spend a lot of time making that route and failing as well. So what I say, that a mentor gives you another set of eyes that enables you to see what you may not have or seen, and also guide you along the way as well. And then finally, knowledge is the key to all things possible. Always stay on top of what is happening, get around you. This is just not generally opening up a traditional book. It's great podcasts like, Shout Out Loud. It's listening to, other gurus within your space. It's looking at articles. It's attending seminars. It's going out there and networking. This is how you stay on top. And this is how you bring your business to a successful place. So I think that's how I would approach it as a young person.
You know what, Anthony? That advice is great for a young person, not so young person, and even a silver fox or foxette that wants to start up in business. It's sound advice, so we appreciate that advice. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Robin, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. And if you have missed the show, you can catch the replay and, connect with Anthony Odogwu. He is on, just Google him. You will find him. He is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. He's everywhere. And if you can't find him, go onto his website, your website. Please give us the website details again.
So, for all things investments, you need to be visiting Hampshire Global Group.co.uk. For all things technology and what's happening in the great social media world, you need to be visiting futurespacetechnologies.com. Futurespacetechnologies.com for social and technology. Hampshire Global Group.co.uk for all things investment and cryptocurrency.
Awesome. Anthony, I cannot thank you enough for being our first guest of the brand new year and sharing with us your knowledge around cryptocurrency and generating wealth in this era, in the digital era. And if there is one more piece of advice that you would leave with anybody who's going into cryptocurrency, what would that advice be?
Get in. You can't afford to miss it. This great opportunity. You just can't afford to miss it. With everything, it has its, what I call challenging moments. Mm-hmm. But in that, the flowers come at the end. So, get in early, get buying, get learning, and I'm sure you'll thank me later.
All right. Tony, thank you so much for being on the show. You've been
an
absolutely awesome guest.
Thank you, Lynn.
And guys, you know where we are. Catch us online. Send us a message if you want to reach out and send Tony a message and you miss the details. Hit us up and we'll send those questions out to Tony. And, just reach out and let us know you like the show, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of. We're here to serve. So this has been another episode of Shine Out Loud Show, and I'm Millennial Mobile, and I'll see you same time next week.
You've been listening to the Shine Out Loud Show. If you want to connect with us or let us know what you thought of today's show, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Shine Out Show.